Hello and welcome to this video from zonalaudio.com. Today we're just going to jump into some sound design. Something I've been wanting to do for a while is just really mess about with raw and the delay circuit that is now in 2.2 and also the feedback. So really no prep to this. I've made this sound. The actual sample is just something very basic, which with a few raws and some LFOs. So already lots of fun random stuff going on. I'm going to recapture this and then we're going to build some similar chains for more fun times with raw. Okay, so I'm going to start by grabbing a couple of instances of raw. First one I'm going to put in serial, and as opposed to the Max for Live LFO, I'll just try and use all internal modulation. The second one we'll put on delay, and then we want a limiter at the end of this. Cool, so we'll focus on the first one for now. I'm going to go low drive and a high amount, and then just go pick any random sample. I have a new sample pack out, groove and hard techno. All sorts of interesting sounds in here. Let's go for a Foley sound. Cool. So the idea is to get raw feeding back on itself at both stages and also utilizing this delay here. So let's mash it up a little bit first. Okay, got something going on there. And let's have, we have the new filter types in here as well. Nice touch Ableton. Okay, so I'm going to modulate some parameters of this, but first let's get this delay thing going on. And then this is where it will start to get fun. So the first thing I want to modulate is the feedback, which we can do here. Let's open this up. Interesting. So that's this LFO. I'm going to put this on 3 and have it quite slow moving. And what I actually want to do at this point is look at the second one. It's going to get a little bit confusing at times. I'm going to do the same thing. So feedback time, if I give that a wiggle, we should see it. Feedback time, also to LFO1. And what I'm doing here is I want to set the second LFO to be close to, but not the same as, this LFO. So I'll make them both sine. So this one's on 6 Hertz. And this one is on 4 Hertz. And so what I'm trying to achieve here is some kind of cascading effect whereby they kind of fall over one another and we get that interesting pitch relationship and also maybe even a bit of a phasey, chorusy sound. So yeah, keep your eye on where these LFOs are in relation to how the sound sounds. So I'm going to take a couple of captures of that. That's quite interesting. So as you might be gathering, the actual sound source here isn't so important. Let's do one more capture and then we'll play around with some other stuff. So all sorts of weird and wacky wonderful sounds there, which could be used in many ways for a track, and we're just getting started. Let's get deeper into this LFO matrix. Cool, so a little more movement getting in there now. Add another raw. Why not? No idea what this filter does, but let's have a play. Okay, so I want to get lots of things moving. Medium speed LFOs. So the stuff at the tails is really nice. So we've been a little bit shy on the output there. Let's give it some more. Yeah, some really interesting noises there. Going to capture one more. Going to put this on the Patreon, by the way. So subscribe to the Patreon or become a channel member if you want to just grab this entire project. So going to keep going. Let's just see what a different sample sounds like. I think it'll sound almost exactly the same. Yeah, no need to go into that. Whoop. So yeah, you can see we're getting quite a different result each time. So I'm going to save this as is. I will be putting a pack together of all or many of these type of presets, by the way, so just keep your eye on our newsletter. It will come out soon. So if you weren't already aware, everything sounds better with reverb and delay. So let's put some reverb and delay on. And if it sounds better, maybe it sounds better 3 times, maybe 4 or 5 times, maybe. We'll see. Could be too many, so we'll just turn some of them off for now. Don't want to go too mad. Okay, this one's going to be a bit wacky. Similar thing, setting these LFOs quite close to each other so the times kind of correspond. Just going it by itself now, starting to feed back on itself at some point. I'm just going to get another capture. Lots of mad, crazy sounds there. Going to like really pull back on all this nonsense and see if I can get something usable for a kick drum, and then start to play around with some of the sounds. So let's do a high pass and give ourselves a nice big bump. I'm going to do that a few times, really hammer the low end. Maybe we can utilize some others as well. So this one being the low band for here, we can really pump that. Let's do clip. Some more interesting results, but not exactly what I'm after at the moment. Let's push it a bit further. This has a bit more low end in this sample, maybe we'll try this. Okay, one more, but completely beasted. Two of these potentially usable for a kick. In fact, last time I did a video similar to this, I ended up not removing the low end from the kick in that way, which wasn't hugely problematic, but in hindsight, probably better to have done that at an earlier stage. Okay, so quite tempting to make that into a big, long, industrial style kit. That option is there, but now that's like a 50% done kick, I'd say. It still needs quite a bit of processing, but let's have a play around with some of these other sounds. Gonna make some hats out of this. Nice and easy one using chop and chain and some EQ. So it's really easy little dynamics processor that you can get from zonalaudio.com. I am tempted to go a little bit further than this and use the shaper tool and a utility for a bit more of a funk. isn't a great deal that I can remember that would be useful for bass, but let's have a play. Okay. Okay, nice little backbone there. No group processing just yet. I'm going to do that. Do the group processing more raw. More raw's what it's all about. Do we go multi-band? I think we might. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to beast this. -5 on the output to start. Let's give it 5 drive. don't know why I didn't at the first, but I'm wanting a little bit of pitch envelope on here. So let's go simpler, sampler, modulation, filter global, filter envelope, pitch, OSC, pitch envelope. Here we go. Yeah, I want these hats to be more interesting. So I'm going to grab utility and then the shaper tool. Okay, and this is going to be mapped to the gain, but obviously we don't want it going quite like that. We want 0 to be the top point. So let's go mod 50. Yep, that's about right. And then we want the rate to be 16ths. Cool, so this is getting all a bit dark and industrial, but it's sunny outside and I want some funk and sunshine in my song. So I've been working on a new sample pack called Groove and Hypnotic Techno, and we have some nice funky loops in here. Whoops, don't forget to turn that off. let's just have a bit more fun with these effects. So we've got a nice backbone core loop there. Basically make some quite interesting things happen just around that. So let's get a really basic structure in. So the auto filter is really nice. Yeah, such a good update. Just the drive from this MS2 setting alone is really nice on all the drums. Maybe a bit heavy, but let's see. So pretty easy one here. Let's do a riser. Zerp. So what I'm going to do actually is create a send to put all of these in a kind of similar space. Okay, a bit of creative sidechaining now. So this is going to be sidechained from the kick and also itself. Those three little bits should be enough to play with. Cool, so this project's now going on the Patreon, middle tier or above to get that, or you can join the channel. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, informative, entertaining or enjoyable in some way, please do give us a like and a subscribe. It really does help the channel. Until next time, cheers, see ya.